everybody, Morgan with an answer here, and today I want to walk you through how to plan a virtual bridal shower. So maybe for some reason you can't get everyone together in person, but that doesn't mean that we can't still celebrate. So I want to show you how to plan and host a virtual bridal shower, and I'll leave some timestamps in the description box below if there's a subject you'd like to jump straight to. So let me get right into showing you how to throw this party. The first thing to do is pick a platform to host the party on. Now I'm going to assume it's a video platform and it's free so that no one has to pay to join it. I also want to pick something that everyone on my guest list can access. So here are a couple of the options that are available that are free and can be hosted pretty easily on these platforms. But you do want to take into consideration your guests. So things like FaceTime, only people who have an iPhone or an Apple product can access that. So keep your guests in mind as you pick your platform. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of platforms. You want to think about how many people you're going to have on this call, because some of these platforms do have limitations in the number of people they can have on the call at once, and some of them have duration limits. So maybe it's only an hour or 2 hours that this can go on for a free-based program. So make sure you're doing your research into each of these programs. Like I said, I've got some pros and cons listed here, so take a deep dive into those. Familiarize yourself with whatever platform you decide to use prior to the party starting. You want to think about what kind of technology you'll be using to host this party. Will you be on a desktop computer or a laptop? Will you be using a tablet or a cell phone? If you're using something that's kind of small, like a phone or a tablet, you may want to consider casting that to a smart TV so you can see everyone better and have a better view of the party in general. So make sure you pick the technology that works best for you and is easy to access. Let's talk about invitations. So for a virtual party, there's a lot of ways you could go about this. You could absolutely send a traditional paper invitation if you like. You could also go with a digital invitation. That could be sent out through an email, instant message, or a text message, or you can use an Evite service, something that will send a digital invitation. And some of these websites actually have RSVP tools or ways to send special images and message boards. So I'll link below a couple sites that have that as an option, but you don't have to use one of those if you don't want. There's lots of things available, so pick whichever platform works best for you and your guests. There are some specific details you want to communicate in your invitation, specifically the date and time that you're going to be hosting your party. And if this is something where you're going to have people joining this party from different time zones, make sure that you specify what time zone you'll be hosting that party in. If your bride has registered for gifts somewhere, make sure you include links to their bridal registry as well as the bride's address. If you want the gifts to be sent directly to the bride so she can open those gifts during this party, make sure that that's included as well so that she's not having to field lots of questions on what her address is as people try to send her gifts. Once you've chosen a platform for the party to be held on, make sure to include instructions on the invitation so people know exactly how to get into that party, whether that's a Zoom link and a password or a link directly to whatever the call is, as well as some FAQ in case they've never used that platform before. And finally, be sure to include an RSVP. Even though this is a digital party, we want to make sure we know who's coming, and that way if we're expecting someone to be there and they aren't, we can reach out to them outside of the video call to make sure they're not having technical difficulties. Let's dive into your role as the hostess of this party. So I assume you're the one who's hostessing and you'll be the one who's launching the party. So you want to make sure that you're set up ahead of time with all the technology, you've tested it ahead of time to make sure everything works. You're going to be the one who enters the call first so that as people arrive, you can greet them and get to know them, maybe write down their name if it's not someone you've met before. Your job is to make sure everyone can get to know each other and pace out the party. So you may want to start off with some introductions, an icebreaker game, have everyone go around and introduce themselves so everyone knows who's involved and maybe their relationship to the bride. You also want to make sure that you are pacing out the party. It's easy and it's very common in a video call for conversations to lag a little bit. People may talk over each other accidentally, so you want to make sure you're kind of mediating that and leading the conversation. You also want to keep time frame in mind. You don't want this video call to drag on for hours and people feel like maybe they can't get off. So definitely have an opening time, an activity time, maybe a gift time, and then a closing moment. And then if people want to linger after the party is over, they have the opportunity to leave and not feel guilty about doing so. So make sure you have just a general sketch of the things you'd like to do in the party laid out ahead of time, and that will help this go super smooth. There are so many ways to have fun and play games in a virtual bridal shower. So maybe you can't make a toilet paper wedding dress on people, but you can still play lots of games. There are so many printables out there that you can either print out ahead of time and mail to people along with an invitation, or you could send these digitally through the chat of the party and people can participate that way. But there's so many printables out on Etsy. I'll leave some linked below if you'd like to have some ideas. But there are lots of printables or downloadables that you can get that are just as fun to play and really help you get to know your bride-to-be. To decorate or not to decorate is totally up to you for a virtual bridal shower, but I would highly recommend you do so. It adds such a festive atmosphere to the video call, and it's so much fun to see what everyone has done behind them. So you don't have to go crazy with this. You can just do a few decorations behind what will be behind you in the camera view, or maybe a few things on the desk if you're sitting at a computer. You don't have to go overboard, but a few little things will make all the difference in a festive atmosphere. If anything, make sure your bride-to-be has some decorations behind her. So maybe you send a kit to her of some simple decorations, maybe she wants to decorate herself, but if anyone's going to have decorations, make sure that she has some on the wall behind her. Virtual bridal showers give you a unique opportunity to explore food and beverage options. So maybe this is a BYOB kind of party. Everyone grabs their favorite drink and sits down on this video call to party. Or you could share your favorite cocktail recipe or a family baked good. It gives you that sense of shared community and shared experience, even if you aren't in the same location. So definitely explore some different options. And if you want, you could even do party in a box kits where you include some little treats, maybe a cocktail kit ready to go. You could send games in this kind of thing. So depending on how many people you have coming to the party and what kind of experience you're looking for, you could send a party in a box. I hope you found these tips helpful in planning a virtual bridal shower. Just because you're in different places does not mean you can't still have a lot of fun and celebrate your bride-to-be. Now, if you wanted, you could absolutely make this a co-ed party. It doesn't have to be a traditional bridal shower. Get the guys in on this and have all of the fun games and drinks as well. Mix it up, make it your own. But don't be intimidated by the digital needs of this kind of party. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join the creative community. I do all kinds of party setups, decorations, and tips to help you throw the party of your dreams. So until the next time, stay creative!